For our citizens here in Washougal, a good percentage of them take that 205 across. And if they're going to put a toll at Highway 14 to get on, that's going to be really detrimental for our folks trying to get on to 205. Have to pay that to go work over there and come back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, my understand, I'll review that information and see if I can get any more detail on that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And as a matter of fact, if you're not able to make the Wednesday luncheon meeting, I'd be happy to ask that question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for me? Okay, thank you.
We've invited staff from the RTC to come as well to just further the conversation about the role of RTC, in light of some of the questions that came up in council discussion after the first of 2 public hearings last week. So we have Dale, I apologize, Dale.
Robbins.
Dale Robbins here. He's on staff with the RTC, and his responsibility is over the MTP, Metropolitan Plan.
Transportation Improvement Program.
MTIP, as we call it.
And he's going to give us some information I think that will be helpful to the council as you'll continue your deliberations after the second public hearing next week, just to give you some context around our plan and how it fits regionally and implications of different directions we might take.
Great. Thank you for having me here today. What I'd like to do is really take a few minutes and explain how we got to roundabouts on SR 14 and give you some ideas of some options of how the city could proceed. My understanding is a lot of the issues came up about the SR 14 roundabout project. I'm not really here to talk about the merits of roundabouts. I'm not an expert engineer that can tell you about that. I can tell you my personal experience, but that's as much use as any of your experiences. What really happened, I did hand out a packet that's at your table if you want to get to that. I'm going to refer to that as a little yellow highlighted project there at the bottom. What you see there on the top is really a list of one page of a list of projects that are included in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. And the second from the bottom there is the SR 14 project, basically from Union to 32nd Street, so it includes actually more than what we're talking about. Part of that project is being constructed with the project that's going forward this fall with in Camas. But basically the improvement that was identified in the 20-year plan was to widen SR 14 basically to 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, and add interchanges. It's not specific about where the interchanges would be, but I would assume that you're probably looking at Washougal River Road and 32nd. That would be the most logical option, but when they actually go to design, they'll make that determination exactly where they would go. That is considered the ultimate solution for the project. The problem is that the solution is estimated to cost $119 million. And my guess is that might be underestimation of the full cost. It's probably even higher than that. Given the high price tag and the difficulty of the project, the improvement's not likely to happen anytime soon, and it probably won't happen for decades, to be realistic, given the budgets. And maybe things could turn around in the next decade, but I don't. That would be my assumption. So the previous Washougal administration hired a consultant to come up with an interim solution for SR 14 that's affordable and would improve safety. They identified roundabouts on SR 14 and had engineered documentation to support that claim. They then worked with regional partners to get plans amended and obtained WashDOT acceptance that roundabouts on SR 14 could work. So there was a lot of work. This occurred over a couple-year period to get that buy-off. WashDOT didn't just say, yeah, that's a great idea. Washougal had to go to WashDOT and prove to them that it was a viable option. Second page of the packet, in your handout, you'll see another list of projects that identifies the first time the roundabouts was pulled in. It's highlighted in yellow too. And basically it said that in November 2007, the FCC board supported roundabouts on 14. That was their action. And behind that, you'll see minutes from 2 meetings that occurred in 2007. And we just took out the portion on the roundabouts. That was Washougal City staff, their consultants, came to RTC board and said, we want to put this in the plan. And there's a reason why they want to put it in the plan. In order for a project to move forward, it has to be in the regional long-range plan in order to receive state or federal funding, in a sense. So that's really how SR 14 roundabouts got in the plans. Now I'd like to switch and discuss a little bit about how Washougal City Council can address this project. Since the roundabout issue came up, it's been listed in the city's transportation improvement program, is my understanding. It has been put in there every year ever since 2007. It probably was in there even before, maybe 2006. Again, you know, any regionally significant project has to be listed in a long-range 20-year plan. So it has to be in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan because SR 14 is a major facility in this region. In order for it to receive federal funding. Once you receive federal funding, it needs to be put into the Transportation Improvement Program in order to spend state or federal funds. The project is obviously a Washington State Department of Transportation project. So if they receive funding, they would have to put it in the Transportation Improvement Program. The city of Washougal does not have to list a state project in their Transportation Improvement Program. There's only basically 2 reasons why that would be a benefit to the city. One would be to show support for the project. If that's a project the city supports, you could list it in your Transportation Improvement Program to do that. The second reason would be to help you seek grant funding. Basically what WashDOT, when they accepted the roundabout project, said was, Washougal, if you think this is important, you prove to us that it will work as an interim solution, go get funding and we'll work with you to construct the project. Ultimately, WashDOT would have to construct the project. And with me today, I did invite Sharon Zimmerman, who's the planning manager. Back here, she can wave to you, from DOT. She's here more of a listening capacity, but wanted to see where the city of Washougal is on the project, because ultimately they will be your partner on this project, whatever the project is. So let me talk about basically what I see after looking at this. Is the city has 4 options. You could continue to pursue funding for roundabouts on SR 14. If Washougal is successful in obtaining funding, WashDOT will work with Washougal to implement the project. Second option would be do nothing. Again, you know, you've changed administration in the city. If you decide to do nothing about it, take it off your 6-year road program, WashDOT is not going to pursue this project. It's really a Washougal issue if you want to pursue it. WashDOT's ultimate plan is to widen the highway and add interchanges. That's what they want to do ultimately. They're a long ways from funding that, but that's what they want to do. So if you remove the priority as a city council, beside it's not a priority to us, the project will probably go nowhere. You could pursue funding for the SR 14 widening and interchange. To give you the idea, it's probably the design work alone is going to cost in the range of $13 to $15 million. That's just design. And that would get you a good solid cost estimate. Maybe the project could be divided into smaller elements, and over the next 20 years, maybe you can get a phase 1 or a phase 2 constructed. Or the final thing is to really develop a new interim solution. Do much of the same process that happened back